In this video, traders, we're going to look at habits to work on now if you are a newer trader, because it's much easier to get these habits fixed now and do the right thing than it is to try and adjust them and try and break those bad habits later on when you've been trading for a while. Stick around. Hey guys, warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining me. All right, so in this video, we're going to talk about some habits. How many have we got for you? We've got 7 habits that I think is really worth getting into now if you are a newer trader, so that you haven't got to undo bad habits and really work on them, which is a lot harder, as we know, when you're a more experienced trader, because habits are kind of pathways in your brain. I'm going off topic here a little bit, but from what I understand it, guys, are pathways in your brain that become almost thicker and thicker in terms of that's the electrical current just literally going through back and forth, so it gets more embedded, so it's harder to undo the habit. Whereas early on, if you make sure you have good habits with your trading and good processes and all these kind of things, then those are the things that then become thicker in your brain and become more embedded into the way you approach trading, and so you have a good foundation. So number one, you've got a good foundation to start off with, and number two, you're not trying to undo bad habits. So it's well worth getting everything down now if you can. Now, we're not going to be perfect, you're not going to do everything right, but you get a few of these, you're onto a winner. Anyway guys, this video is sponsored by those guys in the description below. Currency pairs, indices, commodities, ETFs, stocks, and also worth pointing out, guys, that these guys are regulated for multiple different areas. So whichever country you're in, go and see which umbrella you would fit under and what the kind of margin requirements would be, or what the leverage they offer, because they offer pretty high leverage under certain jurisdictions, restricted for some others because of ESMA, obviously under UK and Europe, etc. But depending on where you are in the world, you might be under a different umbrella and have some different relaxed rules. All right, guys, so go and check them out. I'll link to them in the description below. Okay, so let's get on with these habits. The first one is sticking to your rules. Now, I appreciate this is easier said than done, and it's something that we have to kind of work on and become better at. And some people are better at it than others. Some people are just more disciplined in general life, which will probably help them. But you're going to break rules. You can't beat yourself too much. You can't beat yourself up too much for breaking the occasional rule in trading, but the more you focus on sticking to them, the more you reward yourself for sticking to them, the better it will become. If you get used to a habit of just breaking rules or making a list of rules and breaking them within the second day, you are going to cement that bad habit, and it's going to be very hard for you to kind of crack that nut later on when maybe there's more money at stake, maybe all these different things are just harder to do. So try to stick with rules. And my recommendation, or my advice, I've got no my thoughts on it, should I say, it's up to you how you approach trading, as of course, you're your own trader. But my thoughts on it are this, is that if you start off with a few rules that you can stick to, you start to build confidence that you can stick to the trading rules. Like, okay, I'm not going to trade more than this size, I'm going to not risk more than this in a day, I'm only going to trade these markets, something very simple. And then if you stick to those, you can add more and more. The mistake that I think a lot of traders make is they add so many rules on that they can't stick to it, and they break one or two and they think, well, I've broken the rule anyway, I might as well break the rest of them. So try to stick to your rules. The second thing, guys, is not over-leveraging yourself. Classic error from newer traders is over-leveraging and getting away with it, because you kind of get away with it. You think, well, I got away with it once, I can do it again. It's a trap to fall into. You should be trading smaller amounts. There's a time and a place for using leverage as a weapon, as a tool. And as you get more experience, you'll maybe recognize the times when it's useful to dial up the size a little bit, when it's useful to dial it back. But as a newer trader, you kind of fall into the trap sometimes of, I'm down, let me leverage up to get a bit more money, or I want to make more money, I want to make money, and you use leverage as that kind of tool, and it ultimately never really works for your long-term benefit. You might get away with it a few times. It's like running across a motorway, right? If you run across the M6, big motorway in the UK, if not from the UK, you run across that, you might get away with it depending on what time of day it is. Probably not if it's rush hour, but you might get away with it. But if you do it all the time, you are probably going to get hit and get hurt at some point. So it's one of those things that, don't do it. All right, so number 3 is recognizing trading related emotions. Big topic this, we talk about plenty of times on this channel, but you just learn to recognize I'm frustrated that I've missed that trade. I'm angry that I got stopped out of the low. I'm angry that I've missed this. I'm sad that my performance isn't where it should be. I'm super excited and happy because I've made, recognizing those and at least recognizing them as a start. You know, we could go into stuff later on. And there's plenty of other videos out there, and there's sure there'll be more to come, where we talk about, you know, how we deal with these things that happen in all types of trading. You're frustrated you missed this, or whatever it may be, fear of missing out. Talk about that a lot. So just recognizing it is a very good start, and that's a good habit to get into, because then once you recognize it, you can start to put in things in place so that it doesn't impact your trading negatively. Right, and the fourth thing, guys, is not adding to positions. Pretty self-explanatory, this. There are specific strategies where, okay, you might want to do this, but for now, the best thing to do is just to not add to a losing trade. I should have had a losing trade. Add to a winner's a little bit better, and you kind of pyramiding in as the trade goes in your favor. That's fine, but most traders don't do that. They add to lose and add and add. And the trouble is, you're in your biggest size in your worst position. So that's a really bad habit to do, and try to avoid that. The fifth one, guys, is sticking to risk parameters. So your risk parameters would be how much size am I going to trade, how much I'm going to risk on this trade, how much I'm going to risk in a day or a week or a month, and just sticking to that. The sixth thing is thinking like a pro trader. So this encompasses a load of things, but some of the main things that professionals think about the markets in a different way is, you know, the market's always right. It's never against me versus the market. There'll always be opportunities if I miss stuff. I will have drawdown. How I deal with it's the most important. I need to live to trade another day. I need to keep the capital, not only my emotional capital and my financial capital. So I need to make sure that these things are always thought about for every trade that you take. Never dig yourself into a hole you can't get out of, and know when to walk away. Just some of those things. You know, you can go read some books from professionals, etc., to kind of get some ideas. But if you have that mentality of thinking like a professional trader, then it'll be far easier to kind of deal with all the setbacks and challenges that come as a new trader. Because the seventh thing, guys, is playing the game for the long term. I can't stress this one enough. As a newer trader, you want to make money, I get it, you want to get in the market, you want to do this, do that. But for long term or longevity in the market, you know, you have to be thinking long term. Is it best for me to trade this particular trade? Maybe it's not setting up quite right. Maybe it's a little bit too volatile. Maybe you're trading to, you know, this kind of stuff makes you think, okay, I want to be in the markets 1 year, 2 years, 10 years from now. If that's the case, then would I take this trade? Why would I take this trade? Because it's got a short-term possible gain, but the damage it could do is this. So thinking long term and helps you just separate yourself, distance yourself a little bit from the intraday or intra-week, whatever time frame you're trading, stuff that's flowing at you all the time. The market's moving here, your P&L's up, it's down. It helps you think a little bit longer term and say, hey, you know what? I'm planting seeds for the future. I'm doing the right thing, do it the right thing. I want to be here to fight another day. All right, guys, those are 7 habits to work on now as a newer trader, which makes life easier moving forward. Don't forget to check out our channel sponsor. Those guys are in the description below. Hit the link, go and check them out. Take care. Bye-bye.